My guest at this time is the Ring of Honor Pure Champion, and he is also a member of the newest AEW stable, the Blackpool Combat Club. It is Wheeler Yuta. Wheeler Yuta, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me here today.
Thanks, Nick. Happy to be here.
It's, I think, the first time I've seen you without blood all over your face in a while as well.
Yeah, now we just have it on a t-shirt. It's much more sanitary. It hurts a lot less. It's great.
How is it, how is it bleeding as much as you do these days, Yuta? I watch it and it looks very painful and, I don't know, just very, very painful.
Yeah, it was very painful. Also, one thing no one tells you when that happens in a match is you can't see anything. So wrestling that match was really hard. I felt blind. I eventually figured out if I wiped this part of my eyes, I could see. Other than that, I was just wiping it into my eyes for most of the match. But
So,
yeah.
wow. So you're blinded by blood, right? And you had
Mhm.
brutal bouts with both Danielson and Moxley before officially joining Blackpool Combat Club. What's it like to just be in there with these guys who are really kind of making an example of you and really physically trying to push you, I think, about as hard as I can imagine you've been pushed in the ring?
Yeah, it was definitely, I would say, both of those matches in consecutive weeks were the biggest test of my career, right? Like being in there with Bryan Danielson, who, for my money, is the best wrestler of all time, uh, and just like the fire that he was trying to get out of me. I could tell that he was, hitting me harder, trying to see if I really had that fight within me, and I think I found it, or at least I thought I had found it until the next week when Moxley pushes me even further and further and harder. So, yeah, there's definitely a different atmosphere when you're in the ring with those guys that you don't get just on a normal match. There's something there that elevates you, and you either have to match that or you're just going to be left behind. So that's what those matches felt like to me.
So I'll slow it down here just a second. I mean, this past year has been a breakout year for you, Yuta. A lot of new fans, a lot of people seeing you, I think, and catching on to you for the first time here. How has it been for you? I mean, first getting the big break with the best friends, right? And now kind of getting to pivot here to Blackpool Combat Club. How has this last year been for you, moving up the card as quickly as you have?
Yeah, this has been a really crazy year for me. I remember thinking when the pandemic first started, I was like, wow, well, there's my shot. I missed it. There's no more wrestling. I'm in trouble. I'm never gonna get to wrestle again, and never in front of a crowd at least. And it's the worst, and I'm done forever. And then things just started happening. The best friends, real life helped me train and let me sleep on their couch for a month, and they've always been very good to me. And then they offered me, they said, hey, we have this opportunity for you. Would you like to come in? Would you like to do this? And of course I would. So it was really nice to be able to kind of be there with guys that had really helped me out and had really meant a lot to me for a long time. And then, of course, now pivoting into the Blackpool Combat Club has really given me an opportunity to kind of do more of what I was doing on the independents, really kind of dig in, be a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more technical. And that's really what I want to bring to the table with my wrestling. So I think I found three of the best guys to do it with. Absolutely.
Well, you're the ROH Pure Champion. I think that's the standard for technical wrestling, if
All
I'm
right.
not mistaken. So,
Mhm.
with the best friends, man, you talk about how you guys are actually very, very good friends outside of the ring. What was, we saw on screen, right? Trent upset, about everything, but how has it been, behind the scenes with the best friends, with you kind of moving away from them? Is it melancholy for you to have to make this move right now?
I don't know if it's melancholy because I'm very excited to be able to move forward and progress and do other things, but it is, it's a little bit sad to see. I don't know if you saw the BTE this week where Chuck Taylor's cutting my face out of his shirt. So it's a little sad when I see things like that, knowing what those guys have done for me. But I like to think that they'll understand going forward. I don't know if Trent will, but I like to think that Chuck and Orange will at least.
I was about to say, man, because I saw that promo right on TV where Trent was, very upset, right, and kind of feeling looked over here in regards to you moving on to Moxley and Danielson stuff. I don't think a lot of fans really understand how much capital New Japan Pro Wrestling had really put into Trent before AEW launched. I mean, you're working with obviously some top tier individuals here, but it is something for me where I'm like, I don't want to relate with Trent here being looked past or anything like that, but he's a great wrestler and I'm sure a great mentor and friend as well, Yeah.
Yeah, and I totally understand where he would be coming from, where he would feel a little bit overlooked or feel like maybe we didn't give him his just due. But the I was there not to like replace him or anything. I was just there to help my friends. And, it kind of shook out the way it shook out. And now I've moved on to hopefully bigger and better things for me at least. But yeah, I mean, I I don't know what to tell him. I'm trying. I would like to be his friend, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
All right. Well, maybe I'll bring this up later as a follow-up question. So right now, man, Blackpool Combat Club, I mean, it's like a dream team, right? I mean, it's got to be
hmm
surreal for you being in the mix with these three guys right now who are just kind of legends in the business. Of the three, who do you think is the hardest to please in Blackpool Combat Club?
Ooh, I think it's got to be Regal, just because obviously all of them have had just such great experiences throughout wrestling, but Regal has seen everything and has done everything, and he has been everywhere. So it's really hard to impress a guy who has literally done it all, seen it all in wrestling. Like he is from wrestling in England to on like holiday camps to wrestling on TV in England, then to going to doing tournaments in Germany where he's wrestling in front of the same crowd for 3 weeks in a row every night in the same town, stuff like that. Just experiences that we haven't had. He went to WCW, obviously spent a long time in WWE. He's really been everywhere and done everything as a wrestler, as a trainer. So to try to impress a guy like that is very difficult, but it's something I've been striving to do as much as I can.
How is it after a match is over, right? Even like on Wednesday night when you guys were just so dominant and vicious, right? And picked up that 6-man victory. Is it celebratory, or is it like we're gonna sit you down for an hour and break down everything you did right and wrong and make this a very intense process for you? How is that?
It's a bit of both. It's definitely when you first come back, it's celebratory, but then there's always someone always notices something that you can change, something you can dial in a little bit more. Maybe like my grip was a little bit wrong on a headlock, something to just dig that bone into the side of your face, something that I never really thought of before. Just there's always these little minute details that they find. So it's celebratory when we win, but other than that, it's immediately, all right, well, how do we win the next match? How do we keep moving forward? So there's always these little small details that I didn't think of that someone points out for me. So it's been really helpful so far.
Do you feel spoiled right now, having access to all these minds and getting to work
Oh,
alongside them, Wheeler?
so spoiled. It's unreal. I'm a 25-year-old kid who has somehow lucked into being with three of the best wrestlers of all time. So it's really it's just an incredible experience for me to be
So
a
when did
part
you
of.
find out this was even going to be a possibility? Like, what was your reaction when this like ridiculous, like super stable faction gets pitched to you and like you might get to be a part of it?
I it all just kind of started happening around me before I ever really found out much of anything. Like even the Danielson match I found out on the day of, the Moxley match I found out on the day of. So like it was a lot of, I had these ideas in the back of my head, like what if this happens? But I was never really explicitly told like, all right, this is what's happening. So I was
Huh.
always just kind of I had things in the back of my head. I was getting ready like, all right, well if this happens, how would I approach a match with Danielson? How would I approach a match with Moxley again? But I there's never anything definitive until right before it happened, really. So that was always I had things in the back of my mind, but I was never 100% sure.
Were you confident that you were going to get the handshake from Regal after the Moxley match, or was that something you felt was kind of still up in the air walking into it?
I think it really depended on my performance. I
Wow.
really do think it did. And everything obviously worked out, and I think I did as well as I could in that match. I think it was the best match I've had, but that was one where I was like, I really hope that I legitimately really hope that I can make that these guys trust me and that they're proud of me and that they think that I can do this moving forward. So I think I pulled that off.
Well, trial by fire, man. They beat the piss out of you and bloodied you and really
Yeah.
made you earn your stripes to get into this thing. I've
hmm
heard from some fans as of late, with AEW's current in-ring action that it's pretty violent, right? It seems to be ramping
hmm
up as weeks go on. What's your response to fans who maybe don't like how incredibly physical or violent some of the AEW action has gotten as of late?
I think that AEW is a place where we can really provide something for everyone. I think that there's those little niches of different types of wrestling, and I think that because this sort of escalating violence hasn't happened on TV in such a long time, I think that that's something that we've done a little bit in AEW. But I think that there's a little bit for everyone. So maybe if that part's not your cup of tea, maybe there's something else you can watch. I specifically remember telling my mom not to watch the John Moxley match, but she watched the rest of the show and she loved it. So maybe there's a bit here and there that that you can kind of pick and choose from. But I think that AEW does a good job of providing something for everyone. So even if that part's not your cup of tea, there's something for you in the show.
Have you seen the photo of you during that match where it looks like you're shooting blood out of your eyeballs like a spitting like poison frog or something like that?
Yeah, that was that came before I figured out the wiping technique, so there was a lot of this going on, just trying to get this blood off of my face. So I think that's where that came from. But yeah, I did see that picture.
Okay. Well, let's pivot here a little bit. Man, you are the ROH Pure Champion. I was there for your match with Joe. It was a great bout. It was a very exciting night. I thought it was just a real cool energy in the room with everybody
Mhm.
knowing Ring of Honor was going in a new direction. For you, man, yeah, you've got so much going on right now. It would be enough for just some people to be in a stable with Moxley and Danielson and Regal. But on top of that, you're also now the Ring of Honor Pure Champion. How does that sit with you right now? What does it mean to you to be holding this title at the moment?
The Pure Championship means a whole lot to me for like a lot of different reasons. One of them was, remember when I was telling you about how I thought wrestling was dead and I'd never be able to wrestle again. Well, the first like big call that I got coming out of all of that was from Ring of Honor, and it was to wrestle Jonathan Gresham in the first round of the Pure tournament. So I came up short in that one, and then my tenure in Ring of Honor was not super long. They weren't touring. I never got to wrestle in front of a Ring of Honor crowd. It was all just empty arenas. So I was happy that I got to wrestle in Ring of Honor, but something always kind of felt empty about that time. Like I did it, but I didn't really do it. And then to be able to walk into Supercard, wrestle Josh Woods for the Pure Championship, it felt like it was my chance at redemption, and to come out on top, to carry that torch really means a lot. Like before that tournament, the last person who had had the championship was Bryan Danielson. He retired the Pure
Yeah.
Championship the first time. So he actually, after that Moxley match, he takes the belt and he goes, "This used to be mine, but it's yours now." And then he straps it around me. That was after we went off the air, but that was almost as special to me as winning the title was. So, knowing the legacy behind it, knowing personally it fulfilled that sort of gap for me, but then also knowing in the long term, I'm now aside the list of champions. If you ever look at it, is unreal. Like
Oh yeah, I
it's
have.
it's it's
Yeah, I'm a Ring of Honor
short but
fan.
illustrious. Yeah, right.
Dude, I'm
But
getting
yeah,
goosebumps right now, just like you telling me about that, like Bryan Danielson moment. I mean,
hmm
that's next. I mean, that's bucket list stuff right there. To get that kind of
yeah.
approval from somebody that you have so much respect for. I think the logical question for a lot of people, as great as you guys are alongside each other, and we obviously enjoyed the physicality you guys had last time you were in the ring. Is that a match you want for the ROH Pure Championship? Would you like to defend this against Bryan Danielson at some point?
Oh, I'd be more than happy to. I think Blackpool Combat Club were always up for a fight. I think he'd be more than willing. I'd be more than willing. That'd be great someday. So hopefully that's something that happens. But for right now, we're focused on teaming up and seeing what we can do in that department, I would say.
So with the ROH Pure title, obviously right now Ring of Honor's in kind of, I'd say, a flux, right? Nobody kind of quite knows exactly what's going to happen. I think there's a couple of ideas based on clues Tony's given, but for the moment, it seems like AEW TV is where you're going to be able to show off this belt. Are you interested in defending the Pure title in AEW, or would you prefer to wait till Ring of Honor's future is more clear and to keep that over in the Ring of Honor sphere?
Oh, I'd absolutely be willing to defend it in AEW as well. We talk about how there's like or I was saying that there's a little bit of everything for everyone in AEW. I think that that's also one niche that could be filled. Like the rules of pure title matches to me make them so interesting. How you can utilize the rope breaks, how you can not burn them too quickly, how you can utilize the one close fist punch. I really like that the rules are very important, and I think that that's something that we could add to our AEW show, and I think that would be something that would appeal to a whole different group that maybe doesn't get that from other things that we do on the show. So I think that that's just another niche we could fill. I think that'd be really awesome. And then bringing that prestige to the championship. Like I said, that so far the prestige is mostly in the people who have held it, and then what they've gone to do after that. So I think it'd be really cool to bring some prestige to the championship while still being the champion, as opposed to being like, look at all the list of pure champions, what they did afterwards. So I think it would be nice to kind of bring that focus to the championship.
So are you anticipating competing in AEW Blackpool Combat Club and also like touring and going on the road with Ring of Honor and defending the Pure Championship? Is that kind of what your expectation is right now, or do you not have any expectations at the moment for what the future holds?
Yeah, I mean, I'll defend the championship wherever they want. So if it's in AEW, that's great. If it's in Ring of Honor, I'm sure I'll be at pretty much every Ring of Honor event. So if it's at Ring of Honor, I'll defend it there as well. So wherever they need me, wherever the fight's calling, I'll be there.
Well, the Ring of Honor and AEW rosters continue to get more and more flushed out, man. There's a lot of sharks in the
Mhm.
water right now. How is
Yeah.
it having Samoa Joe walking around the locker room right now? I mean, he's an ROH champion as well at the moment. How is it just having him there for you?
Um, it's another just like super imposing, super talented presence just to have around. And I think it's really positive to have just all these great guys because it makes you kind of have to step up your game. Like when he made his debut was at Supercard, the same show where I won the title. So I'm walking back with the Pure title on my shoulder. I'm like, oh yeah, I did it. I'm pretty proud of myself. And then I hadn't none of us had seen him all day. And I was like, oh, wow, this is cool. And then I look over and then Samoa Joe's walking past me. And I'm like, all right, it's real. Like, this is a real thing. Like, I have to, all right, now I have, this is some expectations. I have to be able to uphold, what Ring of Honor's past has been and what it's going to be in the future. Like, the torch is being passed to me, but I got to make guys like that proud. So, yeah, seeing that was super cool. And it's just super motivating to know there's all these guys that are awesome. So if you're not awesome, you're going to get left in the dust. You have to either elevate yourself, you have to rise to meet all those people, meet the Samoa Joes, the Brian Danielsons, the John Moxleys, the Kenny Omegas, the Adam Pages. Like if you can't eventually step up to their level, you're going to get left behind. So it's super motivating to have just such a huge and talented locker room.
So it's obvious that Tony Khan has put, a lot of emphasis on you as of late. What's it like working with Tony? I mean, he said some really nice things about you, Wheeler Yuta. I mean, he's started to call you one of the pillars of AEW. So, I mean, that's a big compliment from the boss man.
Mhm. Yeah, Tony has been, I would say, the best boss that I've ever had. Like he's very open to input. He's very communicative. That's the right word I'm looking for. But it's just been like absolutely great working with him. I feel like I have the freedom to kind of do my own thing, but also I can still go to him like, hey, I need help with this. I need help with this, and he's always there and open. So it's been really great working for Tony. I've really, really enjoyed my time with him.
Well, he paired you up with Brian Danielson. One thing Danielson said about you in an interview not long ago was like, obviously, how much potentially sees in you, but like himself, he's like, this guy's ramping up promo wise right now. He's like, it took me a while to find my voice. I feel like I'm going to help this guy find his voice outside of just working on chin locks and, holds and stuff, which I'm sure you guys have wonderful discussions about. How is it working with guys like Danielson and Moxley and Regal, who are these epic storytellers that know how to cut great promos? Are they helping you kind of work in that area as well right now?
Oh, definitely. Like there's it's absolutely a part of my game that I have been working on and been trying to improve. And they've been very helpful with a lot of that. And it's really cool to be able to stand there and kind of do interviews with them. Like on Dynamite, we did one before the match with the Gun Club that aired that week on Rampage.
I
And
saw
just
that.
being able to kind of like discuss with them like, all right, how they approach just doing interviews. It was like mind blowing to me how they'll stand in front of mirrors and just like work on gestures and things like that and things that I never thought of. Like there's drills for that, just like there's drills for being in the ring. So being able to kind of stand by them and learn from example, watching them, but then also having my little moments where I can kind of interject my own verbiage or my own personality has been really helpful. And just trying to find that with those guys, and it's been great so far.
Well, I'll wrap it up here. I know I don't have too much time, but I got to ask you about AEW New Japan's Forbidden Door. I don't know if it's been established that it's AEW versus New Japan or exactly what this will look like, but a
Mhm.
lot of fans speculating right now about potential dream matches. Is there a certain opponent for you that you hope to be sitting or staring across the ring from here come June for this big show?
Oh, there's so many. You're gonna have to narrow it down.
I mean, Okada, Tanahashi, Naito. Who do you want, Yuta? Is there? I know it's a tough question. I don't mean to make you
No,
black
no,
out, but is there
no.
somebody that you really would like to take on from that roster?
There's plenty, but you just mentioned Tanahashi, and I think that Tanahashi is one of the guys that I have always envisioned myself across the ring from, and that is someone that I would love to face. I don't know how this joint pay-per-view is going to shake out, but Tanahashi is someone I've always looked up to. I actually met him doing New Japan Strong. He does the Japanese commentary um, for like it was him and Shibata for my debut. So they were doing the Japanese commentary for my match with Rocky Romero, and I don't quite understand what the translation was. My mom translated it for me, and she speaks fluent Japanese. But Tanahashi said something along the effect of, "It feels like I'm cheering for my son." I don't know what I did in there that made him think that, but I always thought that was really funny. So one day I'd like to wrestle Tanahashi because that made me laugh a lot, and I think he's one of the best wrestlers ever. So
Yeah, you got to beat up
yeah,
pro wrestling dad for sure.
yeah,
Your pro wrestling dad needs to go down. I love that. That's
yes,
awesome.
yes.
Wait, real quick, are you still Chaos or no? Are you because you wrestled with as part of Chaos in New Japan Strong not long ago? Are you still in Chaos or no?
So as far as I know, I have not been kicked out. It's a little weird with the best friends, of course, but as far
Right.
as I know, I'm still in Chaos. I think if you go on the New Japan roster page, I think I'm still in Chaos. Um, so that's
Okay.
that's how I've been checking actually. Is I go on the roster page, that and texting Rocky and be like, am I still okay? But
Okay.
he I believe his words were, "We can still team because what Trent doesn't know won't hurt him." So
Okay.
so for
Man,
right now, until someone catches on, I think I'm still in chaos.
man, like the sands of time through an hourglass. These are the days of our lives. I think I got that right.
Yeah.
Wheeler, that's a. I'm older than you. I don't know that you got that reference. Wheeler, that's Days of Our Lives. It's a soap opera.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I've heard of it.
Uh,
I've heard of it.
yeah, exactly. Thank you. Wheeler, thank you so much. This was a great time this morning. It was a great way to start my day. Is there anything that you want to put over here before we wrap up the conversation today?
Not really. Just if you want to follow me on social media, Twitter and Instagram are at Wheeler Yuta, and watch AEW Dynamite 8 p.m. Wednesdays and Rampage 10 p.m. Fridays.